Welcome, UC fans, to UC Bearcats on the Prowl, part of the Grueling Truth Radio Network. As always, I'm your host, James Redis, along with Mark Fightmaster. Mark, tell us what the Bearcats have been up to.
Well, since we last talked, they had their spring football game on Good Friday. Then, they've had landed a few more recruits. Fickle has really put that wall around Cincinnati. He's landed a couple top-notch guys since the last time we talked. Tight end from Sal, I believe, and just today, some 4-star defensive lineman from Fairfield committed. So looking good. He's really he's talked good. He's talked big about recruiting within the city, and I'll be damned if he isn't doing it. So,
and I forget which one of his coaches, but it's the one who coaches the defensive line, but they have like a special name for the group that they're trying to start.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they talked about it on the radio the other day. I feel bad that I can't remember it. But it's like, when I was playing football, we had the Stonewall Club at Dixie. So like all the best linemen, shoot, if you did a good enough job, you remember that. So they're trying to start some type of, to boost morale.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, because like you said, getting that top defensive lineman to sign, and oh gosh, it's been impressive because the spring ball game was not impressive. That the defense showed up.
Yeah,
I was told there was an offense there. Well, the kicker did well.
I was going to say, start of the game was the kicker, right?
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
He had 4 field goals, so that was nice. And then I forget if it was Moore or Trails, but one of them had a really nice run at the 3rd or 4th quarter, about the time when you've been watching the game and you go, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it said they had about 7,000 in the crowd, which is a possibility because on the sides it was great. Like the actual fans showed up, pretty good crowd. The only problem was students. People thought they were on spring break.
Yeah.
Obviously, they were not. Spring break was the first week of the NCAA tournament, so we're still trying to figure out what the heck happened there, but Fridays aren't good for them or something. But
I'll tell you what, though. Any turnout is good for UC with what's happened in the past and what's what we're building towards. Even, what people might think is a minimal turnout is good. Because
but the fans, it was a good turnout.
Yeah.
But just the students, seriously, there was probably 300 at most.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it was really painfully bad. And I'm probably overestimating that, the two. It looked like an NKU women's basketball game.
You see, that is disappointing. But, hopefully they'll catch on. Hopefully the students will catch on and understand, there's a team we need them behind. So
definitely. That and the other minute complaint would be nice if Fickle could pick a spot for the press conference and either do it in, where they do the press conferences at, or, one of the end zones, which is what I heard, as opposed to breaking the huddle and doing it randomly in the middle of the field. So it's part of it, So unfortunately, I did not get any of that, but it's on the UC website. It's a fancy.
Yeah, he'll get there eventually. That's that new coach's learning curve.
Yeah, because I'm like, dude, where is this guy going? Because I got over by where the huddle was, and I was just taking pictures of Fickle, so they had to scoot back and all because it was the huddle, and I'm like, I don't really want to be in the huddle, but I feel something's about to happen, and then so that kind of. But yeah, the offense, it just unfortunately did not show up on the defense. It did well, and then they had a couple, and it wasn't just all defense, so they had a couple good opportunities to make big plays, and unfortunately, it just didn't go through when they had them.
Yeah, that's there's always the hope that maybe the defense is coming around faster, than the offense is. Especially with Fickle being a defensive-minded coach. But then again, I saw some of the Ohio State spring game on Saturday on TV, and their offense was really in good shape. But again, that's an established offense. Even though they got a new offensive coordinator, they still run the same principles. So hopefully that's something that we'll see develop further in the off season.
Yeah, because Ohio State's just one of those teams that they're always clicking, and like I said, UC just needs to, get into it. Obviously, there's some issues and concerns there to trying to figure out the right quarterback and all, which was good,
right?
Because with having the two different, the scrimmage against each other, you had both quarterbacks play, so that was nice.
Right.
And here on top of
you
that,
can see what they can do.
I hear Louisville, one of their backup quarterbacks, is leaving Louisville and is considering UC, which, much as I'd like that, it didn't make much sense to me. Because with having the two guys there and then probably having a third fella who's over at Cincinnati State, it just seems like that kind of logjam of quarterback. I mean, I know being at Louisville is probably not a good spot for him because Jackson he isn't going to miss any snaps. He's the man there. But there's tons of other colleges that they could probably walk on and go, hey, you're the man right now, where UC doesn't have a clear-cut quarterback, but then again, they don't have any, but they do have they have a wide variety of options.
Yeah, well, maybe that's what is intriguing to him, the possibility that he can step in and be the one to do it, so and take over. But we'll see. That would be interesting to say the least, to have throw another quarterback in the mix. So, but hopefully they'll get that. Hopefully that offense clicking. And with more time and more chances to gel, as you might say, or click. So we'll see. Hopefully we'll get some improvement there.
And then, like I was saying about how the defense did so well, they had one of the defensive backs, Thomas, number 10. He had a heck of a good pick. I mean, it was by the sideline and just a nice reaction. But other than that, I was trying to think if there was anything big. I mean, there was that one big run, the trail. Yeah. And then on the university's website, you can see what I'm talking about the students. There's a nice little cluster that I think they all rode together.
Sorry, that's good.
So good.
They carpooled. So
exactly, that's kind of how it felt. They got talent, and like you said, he's building that wall in Cincinnati, and that's what he needs to do.
Right.
The good majority of the top players rated in the state of Ohio. I mean, so there's all kinds of good stuff going on there.
Yeah, and one good thing, one thing I saw from Fickle, and we can talk about this in a minute, but I had the opportunity to go to the UC baseball game last night, and they were honoring the senior athletes. And since the Fifth Third or Shoemaker Center, like I like to call it, it's gutted. So they decided to hold the honors thing as ceremony during the UC baseball game outside. Well, Fickle was there, and he was there with obviously the senior, but he was there for the senior football players, which was interesting to me because he wasn't here, but he was there for them, and he was you talk about pressing the flesh and shaking hands and kissing babies. He was all over the student section there at the game, and there were a lot of students there to support the seniors. He was all over it, working them, and it was good to see that. Exactly,
because he gets it. He cares, and he understands that even if those weren't his players, the fact that they're UC players, and that he at some point might want them to come back and be a part of the program, or might want to there's a recruit at the high school they went to that he's interested in, say a kind word about the program. He's smart. It's like you said. Plus pressing the flesh and just getting those connections is huge.
Yeah, he's working the political side of it, which is good to see, you know, because quite honestly, his time at Ohio State, granted it was only 7 months, he isolated some people, alienated some people, and here you can see that he is going completely 180 from that and really, really working. And it's good. It's a good thing. You know, it was refreshing to see him out there. You know, my sons got to see him, and my oldest son was like, "Oh, that's the new coach." I was like, "Yeah, you recognize him because, you know, we watch all the Ohio State games." He said, "Yeah, he called the Ohio State defense." I was like, "Yeah, you're right." And he said, "Oh, I think he'll be good." You know, so, you know, I mean, silly little story, but, you know, it's my son sees him and is excited, you know, that he knows who the coach is, and I think it's a good thing.
Exactly. That's what it's all about is building that excitement and interest in the program. Like he was on the Reds the other night. I think you were the one who told me about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, just that was as good an interview as I've seen with him. And again, it was Tom Brenneman that did it, you know, and as maligned as he is by many people, he has some really good questions. It was a hell of an interview. I'd love to think that Fox Sports Ohio has it up somewhere on their website because it would be great to be able to link to it or show it or something because it was really good. I mean, it covered the gamut. It talked about, you know, building the wall around Cincinnati, recruiting locally, but then also, you know, just asking about what he learned from Ohio State and how this is for his family. I mean, it was really a very cool interview. And that's the nice thing. You can tell with him that he did learn a lot with them. Because, unfortunately, I mean, it wasn't smooth sailing, and there are some things that he did learn and has been doing different. So, yeah, it's a huge.
Well, you know what it breaks down to with him, and I can leave it at this: it's hope. You know, he's doing things that Tuberville did not do, and that is making fans hopeful. You know, I think I heard. I think it was Lance McAllister saying, you know, it's at one point during the season last year, he and his dad had decided to not renew their season's tickets to UC. And they'd had them for, you know, 9 to 10 years, somewhere in there. But after they hired Fickle and got a chance to listen to him, they decided, you know, we are going to renew because we have this, you know, we've got this hope. We've got this feeling that things are going to be better. So. Got to rebuild the fan base. Got to pump up the fan base again.
And then you mentioned about UC's baseball, and they're having a rough year. I mean, they've played some good teams, but it's been a rough season. They're 19-18.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, part of that Joe Nuxhall Classic, they lost to the crosstown shootout rivals. They were 9-1. But on the bright side, they did beat Wright State as part of that tournament, so that's good.
Okay, so they did win tonight. I didn't have a chance to see that, so.
They ended up winning tonight 42. And
good.
then, of course, they're starting that Homestead against East Carolina at Marquette Stadium. So, yeah, it's been a rough season, but, you know, like you said, one of our other shows, I mean, they played the number 1 team in the country in Louisville.
Yeah.
And they played the number 25 team in Tennessee, so they're not playing the bump.
Yeah, what I picked up from last night's game, and again, this is coming from somebody who knows enough about baseball to not coach his sons. Pitching was an issue last night. Their starter only went 3 innings, and that was with a 4-pitch first inning. He got into some trouble and threw a lot of pitches. Then they brought a kid in to relieve him, and he promptly walked the bases loaded, gave up a hit, and walked another guy. So, you know, the fielding seemed fine to me. Hitting, you know, I didn't think Xavier's pitchers were blowing them away, but they weren't hitting the ball well. You know, they're kids. You know, they're college kids. So you got to expect that. Now, what I will say is, and we've talked about this before, it was $1 for the ticket to get in. It was parking was $5, you know, right there. I mean, like a block away. And that field, Mark Schott Field Stadium, is outstanding to watch a baseball game. Now, one complaint, man, that sun was coming down, and it was right in our eyes because we were on the first base line, and the sun was coming over the rugby practice field and back and just blinding everybody. But it was still a really cool atmosphere. And like I said, they had a bunch of senior athletes there. The Bearcat was there going around. You know, we took probably about 50 to 60 kids from St. Ignatius from the baseball program there. And they got to run out on the field for the national anthem and stuff. And, you know, got to play around with the Bearcat. And some of them were given some foul balls by the security staff, you know. But it was a really good experience for them. Wish the game had been better, you know, but it is what it is. It's college baseball, and it's not the super high level. But it was still fun to watch. And, you know, if you're ever looking for something to do, take the kids out and just watch a little bit of baseball instead of, you know, you don't feel like spending all the money to go to a Reds game, go to the UC game. You know, it was there was three of us, $5 apart, cost us $8 a kid. Now, once we got in, concessions were a little high, but, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, I was going to say, the only downside to the college baseball thing is they seem to do it so dang early in the season compared to regular baseball.
Right.
Yeah, they started, all the way back in February. February. So the season is almost over. But you're right. I mean, it is totally worth the price of admission. Worst case scenario, if it is not a special occasion, it's $5 for a ticket. You can get $5 tickets at the Florence Freedom. That's $10. So, it was good. And, you know, shoot, those young guys who really care about the game. I mean, they're playing East Carolina, they're playing UConn, Wright State. Ooh, there's a rematch at Xavier. Oh, actually, it's first Xavier at Marge Schott. So, you know, that'll be good. Hopefully, you to be able to bounce back on a Tuesday. Ooh, 11 o'clock. It's an afternoon game. That ain't bad at all.
There you go.
Tuesday. Yeah.
Yeah, there were a couple, you know, and a couple players stood out. The one that stood out the most, I believe, is the right fielder, A.J. Bumpus. He was he's a good player. Now, granted, there were some fielding mistakes, and I didn't see it, but I had one of the coaches of my older son's team say he was pretty sure it was a fly ball that my son would have caught that fell right off a dude's glove. But, you know, again, young guys playing a good game and having fun. If you're looking to, the atmosphere was so much different than a pro baseball game. You know, I mean, you're sitting there with the players' parents, you know, and you're listening to them yell at the umpire, which is kind of funny. But it was a good experience, and I definitely would do it again. I will give a word of caution. They talk about $2 beer night there. Now, I was on call, so I couldn't drink, but some of the guys went and said, oh, yeah, we're going to do the $2 beers. It was like $2 little 6-ounce drafts of beer. So, and there was limit too. So, but, you know, it was good. You have a couple beers, watch some baseball on a nice sunny night in Cincinnati. It doesn't get much better.
Exactly. And, you know, I mean, there's players that are coming along. A.J. Bumpus has got a good batting average. You know, of course, unfortunately, his family is just horrible to live next to based on a Christmas Story. You Bumpuses with your dogs.
Yeah, exactly. They were in Christmas dinner.
AJ does listen to it. We were referring to the Christmas Story, not really his actual family.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I could see the misconfusion there, you know, and they're like, why are you making fun of players? No, it was a movie reference. But and then Ryan Nada, I mean, she got 6 home runs this season. So, you know, they got some talent. It's just, like you said, I mean, it's more just to go and enjoy the game.
Right. You got to remember, this isn't the major leagues. This isn't AAA, AA, single A. This is college. You know, you're going to have guys dropping an easy fly ball. You're going to have guys swinging at a pitch that's over their head, you know, occasionally. So the one thing, and my sons could not understand this, was the all-turf field, even the dirt section. You know, that was a little strange, but you know, it was fun. It was a good atmosphere. Kids had fun. You know, you're right there on campus. It's great.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as long as the youngins have fun at it, can't go wrong with it.
Yeah, man. You know, it was 2.5 hours where Kids were with their friends. I was talking with the dads, watched a little baseball. It was fun.
Exactly. That's what all Americana is all about, or the American
Exactly.
comic book. Yep. Sounds good. So for the UC Bearcats on the Prowl, any final thoughts?
No. Well, one thing I guess we could maybe say it's UC related is U.S. Bank did get the 2022, I guess, some of the NCAA tournament games. They announced that yesterday. So, but what's fun about that is UC is not the host, and neither is Xavier. So, in theory, they could play here because you can't play as a host. You can't play in the city that you're hosting. Yeah. But I think you're going to end up having like Miami of Ohio host it.
Smart move. I was going to say.
So you could have UC or Xavier play.
Yeah, I was going to say. David Meyer has done a great job. He's usually in charge with Miami of Ohio with the hockey that was just in town. So, yeah, that would make sense that they would have him or them be officially the host for it, even though they're farther away. And then, like you said, with them not being the host, then, they can play here. So that would be unbelievably awesome.
Yeah, and
a little bit away in 2022.
Right. And, interestingly enough, as you and I have talked in the past with where UC was going to play and choosing BB&T Arena, turns out today, I guess, on 700 WLW, I heard, or maybe it was on 1530, but somebody was on and said that they were chosen because they promised to renovate. So U.S. Bank Arena is now going to get renovated.
Oh, yeah, and I heard that it's supposed to be getting in better shape because they need to do something.
Right. Shoot, man. 2022 is when the games are gutted, Send concerts over to PNC Pavilion at Riverbend. If they want to do indoors, send them to Cintas or BB&T or somewhere and gut that thing and just rebuild it. So.
Exactly. Well, that's what they need to do, and it sounds like they're got the right step. Sean, I always forget Sean's last name, but he runs U.S. Bank Arena, and, he does a great job down there with what they have. So, I mean, if they had nicer facilities, the amount or the quality level of performers that he's going to be able to get is just going to be
exactly.
Sounds great. So for UC Bearcats on the Prowl, part of the Grueling Truth Radio Network, James Ernest and Mark Fightmaster signing off. We hopefully will be coming to you all again real soon and covering more Bearcats signings.